Hi, I'm Chloe Sullivan, and I'm the editor for the Smallville Torch. Now, what you're about to see might shock you, but before you give me the "it'll never happen to me" head shake, try and remember the 1997 plague of the mini backpack. Smallville's problems today may very well be yours tomorrow. On October 16th, 1989, Smallville became the meteor capital of the world. Ever since that day, our little town has been besieged by a staggering number of seemingly inexplicable and allegedly unrelated events. I should know. I've been keeping score. I've chased sources an Area 51 fanatic would scoff at. I've investigated leads that any conspiracy theorist would just call paranoid. I've printed stories that any sane paper would just reject. The problem is they're all true. Now, I have a theory. I believe the 1989 meteor rocks are responsible for some of the strangest things never printed by our mainstream press. And unfortunately for all of you naysayers, backing down is so not my style. I'm sick of the dirty looks and the not-so-covert eye rolls. This time, I'm going to prove my theory, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Now, here's the thing. People are dying, and the one thing the meteor shower did not grace upon our humble burg is a superhero. So, in his absence, you're left with me, one girl, on a mission, who refuses to leave any rock, especially ones from outer space, unturned. I'm Chloe Sullivan, and I'm here to tell you the truth. Earl Jenkins, a Luther Corp night janitor at Smallville Fertilizer Plant No. 3. Last year, Jenkins took a group of Smallville high school students hostage while they visited the plant on a field trip. Jenkins demanded the plant management take him to Level 3, a secret level of the plant where he claimed to be working around the time he developed chronic seizures. Once the hostage crisis ended, Luther Corp paid for Jenkins to be sent to Metropolis for medical observations, where he died 6 months ago. But as Earl's widow, Belinda, can tell you, Earl's story didn't end in Metropolis.
Earl came home one morning. He worked nights. He was shaking. Not trembling, but it was like he was vibrating.
Jitters.
That was his word for it. Yeah. He said that they were spraying crops on Level 3, using some kind of a green dust.
So his jitters coincided with his work on Level 3.
It all started there. Whatever he was exposed to, that's what took him away.
Sorry, Mrs. Jenkins.
Mr. Luther, he's helped a little, but there's so many bills, and Earl used to take care of all that stuff. And Charlie's a handful. More than your average toddler.
Was your son sick too?
Not sick exactly, but different. The doctors don't know what to make of it. Earl thought that if he could just get back to Level 3, he'd be able to figure out what made him sick and get better, but when Lex Luthor took him down there, it was all gone, vanished. After that, no one believed a word he said. And they convinced him he'd imagined everything. There was this one man, though, a Dr. Walsh, Arthur Walsh.
You believe your husband?
I'm not sure. He called soon after Earl had died and said he was very sorry for what had happened, like he was somehow responsible. He wouldn't answer my questions, but it seemed like maybe he believed.
What do you believe, Mrs. Jenkins?
These are the shoes that Earl wore to work during those 8 weeks he slept Level 3. My husband was not crazy.
Maybe you shouldn't get a shot of this. Thank you. Earl Jenkins is very sick, and Luther Corp not only denied responsibility, they denied the story ever happened. So who is this Arthur Walsh? A man that not only believes Earl Jenkins, but accepts blame when no one else would talk. I think we found him. So next week, we're going to road trip to Edge City to pay him a visit and ask that very question. See you next week. Once a top-level genetic researcher from Metropolis University, now Arthur Walsh teaches high school biology in Edge City. Why the sudden career move? And what does he know about Earl Jenkins' past? We're going to go inside and find out. Let's go. Dr. Walsh? Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I was just wondering if I could ask you a couple of questions about your research at Metropolis University.
Sure. You students?
Put a hyphenate, student press. My name is Chloe Sullivan. I'm the editor for the Smallville Torch. Do you know this man?
I'd rather not talk about that.
Then you shouldn't have called Belinda Jenkins. She said you called to apologize.
Well, if you're coming in, close the door behind you.
Don't miss him. What's the former genetic researcher doing teaching high school biology?
Well, I went to the edge of science and didn't like what I saw. Decided to take a step back, ground myself in more noble surroundings. Sorry, this is such a mess.
Doctor.
I read about Earl's case. It seemed too familiar. I thought I might be somehow responsible.
This question might come out of left field, but did your research have anything to do with meteor rocks?
Why?
Well, because I've studied a lot of cases like Earl Jenkins over the past few years, and in my mind, there's one main catalyst, the Smallville meteor shower of 1989.
How many others?
Hundreds, at least.
Hamilton was right. I should have listened to him.
Hamilton, Lee Stephen Hamilton?
He was one of my partners. I didn't believe our results could be replicated outside the lab.
Results like as in genetic mutation, gene splitting, DNA reanimation, cellular mitosis, stuff like that?
I wonder if Donovan knows.
Who's Donovan? Is he another partner of yours?
I think it's better for you if you leave.
Dr. Walsh, you can help prove that the meteor rocks are responsible for deaths and mutations and who knows what else. I mean, you could stop cases like Earl Jenkins from happening ever again.
Why should I trust you?
Because I've lost friends. There are sick people out there who need to know it's not their fault. There are families who can't stop grieving, can't get on with their lives. They need to know what really happened. Now, everyone else seems to be okay with just ignoring this problem, but I have a hunch that you are not one of those people.
The guy of the class coming in. All right, come back next week. Bring your research. I'll bring mine.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Walsh. Oh, Dr. Walsh, when you went to the edge, what made you quit?
They were too fascinated with human cloning.
Dr. Walsh's research could finally prove my theory about the meteor rocks. But first I want to find out who this Donovan character is. No rock unturned.
In 1991, Metropolis University shut down a top-secret, anonymously funded research project, and two respected scientists kissed their careers goodbye. Arthur Walsh now teaches high school biology. Stephen Hamilton died in obscurity, his condition notably similar to that of Earl Jenkins. But it wasn't all doom and disaster. The third member of the team, Donovan Jameson, went on to an executive position at Newcorp, a high-tech energy firm. Did Jameson cash in on the project's failure by selling out to the highest bidder? Or is he simply a scientist who also happens to have an unequivocal instinct for business?
So this is some sort of a school project on nuclear energy?
Not exactly. I don't suppose there's an easy way to break the ice. I came to ask you about your research at Metropolis University.
Really? And what on earth would interest you about that project,
I don't think Earth has anything to do with it. What sorts of things were you studying there?
Isotopes. Engineered isotopes that could be used as plutonium alternatives.
As in nuclear energy?
Well, that is what I do, Miss
Sullivan.
Sullivan. Yes.
I'm sorry, it's strange. I just spoke with Arthur Walsh, and he seemed to indicate that most of your research was focused on the Smallville meteor rocks.
Yes, well, unfortunately, some people feel the need to let their imaginations compensate for their intellectual inadequacies.
Oh, well, Arthur Walsh also thought that your research might be linked to a recent death.
Well, I trust you've seen Mr. Walsh's current lab. I wonder, if he's given the Nobel, do you think he'll need a permission slip to go to Oslo? Well, look, you're a very attractive and, I'm sure, intelligent young woman, and you must see that Mr. Walsh and certainly Dr. Hamilton are less than reliable sources.
Well, lucky for you, Hamilton is, since he's dead.
Oh, dear. Struck by a meteor in Smallville, was he?
Smallville. And you're clearly torn up over it.
I don't have time for theories about space rocks, Miss Sullivan. Now, if that's the story you want, I suggest you stick with Walsh. I'm sure he'll give you all the grist you need for your conspiracy mill. Oh, better yet, why don't you find Hamilton's papers?
Where are your research papers, Doctor?
At the university, of course. Call them up if you'd like to see
And
them.
the other scientists' papers?
As far as I know, they refused to submit their research. Futile gesture, really, since they wouldn't have found a place in legitimate science anyway. Now, you clearly enjoy wasting time, Miss Sullivan. I, on the other hand, am a very busy
People are
fellow.
dead, Dr. Jameson. And I have reason to believe that your research is somehow behind it.
And I suggest that you stop hurling accusations before something heavier than your meteor rock falls out of the sky. Well, it appears I have another meeting momentarily, so if you'll excuse me, Miss Sullivan. That's it, thank you. Could you turn it off, please? Thank you.
Now, some reporters might call this interview a dead end, but I call it a challenge. I'll get ready for that big fight after my interview with the man that will blow everything out of the water, Dr. Arthur Walsh. Once I get him to spill his guts about the meteors, it'll all be good. Get that interview next week. Arthur Walsh is about to be the first civilian ever to lay eyes on the contents of my digital wall of weird. And in turn, we'll have the first hard evidence tying the weirdness of Smallville to the meteor rocks. Dr. Walsh's office hours and classes canceled. Classes report to library. What? Fabulous. Why does this always happen?
Hey, I got a delivery for Arthur Walsh. Is this the right place?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Hold on. What's going on here?
Oh, it's just a project for school.
Okay, I need Arthur Walsh in person.
Well, you know what? I'm his aide. He's just temporarily disappeared, so I can take it. It's not a problem. You guys must have just gone to Dr. Jameson's office. We've been expecting this. Great, thank you. Should I sign something?
Yes, I'm right there.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Bye. We've seen this before. It's up with that. Hello. Special delivery. Arthur, a girl has been snooping. Hope this encourages you to avoid further contact. And it's unsigned. So typical. Let's go. Come on. Arthur Walsh's principal in Edge City was baffled by his disappearance, and the same black hole of reason swallowed up the contents of his house. Oh yeah, and the delivery service that couriered the cash doesn't exist. I'll find out what happened to Walsh and his research, and I'll hunt down the Hamilton papers. Eventually, I'll uncover Donovan Jameson's dirty little secrets, too. But until then, this lone reporter needs a happy ending to tide her over.
tell you about the furniture.